Aced micro-livestock revolution, engineering the perfect 1-acre powerhouse. Did you know that in 49 BC, a Roman entrepreneur named Fulvius Lippinus became the world's first millionaire from farming on a plot of land smaller than a tennis court? You have been told that profitable livestock farming requires sprawling ranches, massive tractors, and hundreds of acres of pasture. But what if the most efficient biological machines on Earth are actually designed for the microscale? Today on Stellar Eureka, we are dismantling the myth of the animal unit and rebuilding the perfect 1-acre farm from the soil up. We are uncovering 11 livestock species that defy the laws of conventional agriculture. Animals with metabolisms, histories, and survival mechanisms so unique they turn a single acre into a powerhouse of production. Our journey begins not in the barn, but in the damp shadowed corners of the garden, with a livestock so small it was once fattened on milk and wine by the Roman elite. While most modern farmers obsess over cattle, the ancient Romans perfected heliciculture, or snail farming. The practice was industrialized by Fulvius Lippinus around 49 BC. He didn't just collect snails, he built cochlearia, specialized snail gardens surrounded by water channels to prevent escape and equipped with early sprinkler systems to maintain humidity. This isn't a garden pest, it is the ultimate high-density livestock. A well-managed snailery of just 20 by 20 feet can produce hundreds of pounds of meat and caviar annually. Eyes, snail eggs or white caviar are a delicacy that sells for over $100 an ounce. But the real genius is in the feed conversion. Snails are hermaphrodites, meaning every single individual in their herd lays eggs, up to 100 at a time. They require zero grazing acreage, thriving instead on vertical boards and a diet of forage crops and calcium. Biologically, they are efficient protein converters, but their history is one of luxury. The Romans fed their snails a mixture of spelt and wine to impart flavor, a technique recorded by Pliny the Elder. Today, on a single acre, you could dedicate a small corner to this ancient practice and out-earn a cattle rancher per square foot, all while producing a product that requires no refrigeration until harvest. From the slow-moving delicacy of the Roman floor, we look upward to a bird that was bred not for its meat, but for a warrior's soul. The Japanese quail is the metabolic racer of the poultry world. While most people know them as a gourmet meal, their domestication story begins in 12th century Japan, where they were prized not for food, but for their song. Samurai warriors and the aristocracy kept male quails in ornate cages, valuing their rhythmic, guttural calls. Much like fighting, song contests were held where birds were judged on the cadence and volume of their voice. It wasn't until the early 20th century that selective breeding shifted focus from the voice box to the egg basket, transforming this songbird into an agricultural powerhouse. For the 1-acre farmer, the Coturnix quail offers a speed of production that is biologically startling. A chicken takes 6 months to lay its first egg. A Coturnix quail is ready in just 6 to 8 weeks. A bird hatched in late spring can be a grandmother by the fall. This rapid generation time was exactly why the Soviet Union and NASA chose quail for their space programs. In 1990, quail chicks hatched on the Mir space station became the first vertebrate spore in the cosmos. They are the ideal livestock for vertical stacking. A quail tractor or battery system takes up minimal footprint. Yet, the nutritional density of the eggs, rich in B vitamins and iron, surpasses that of chickens. They are a livestock species that respects no speed limit. While the quail conquers time with its speed, our next subject conquers the air, defending the farm from its smallest enemies. If you have other livestock on your acre, you have flies. Chemical sprays are toxic and sticky tapes are messy. The biological solution is a duck that thinks it's a cat. The Muscovy duck is not a true duck in the way a mallard is. Indigenous to the Neotropics and domesticated by South American cultures long before Columbus arrived, these birds have claws on their feet and prefer roosting in trees. But their true value on a small farm is entomological warfare. Research published in the Journal of Economic Entomology has shown that Muscovy ducks can remove adult house flies 30 times faster than commercial bait cards or traps. In controlled field trials in calf pens, the presence of Muscovies resulted in an 80 to 90% reduction in the fly population. Unlike chickens, which scratch through manure and can inadvertently help fly larvae hatch by exposing them to air. Muscovies actively hunt the insects with predatory precision, snapping them out of the air. They are quiet, hissing rather than quacking, and their meat is lean, dark red, and often compared to veal or roast beef. On 1 acre, a trio of Muscovies acts as the sanitation department, converting pests into protein without damaging your garden plants. The Muscovy hunts on land, but our next duck was engineered over centuries to work in the waterlogged trenches of ancient Asia. Look at the stone carvings of the Borobudur temple in Java dating back to the 9th century and you will see a duck standing upright like a penguin. This is the Indian runner duck, a breed shaped not by nature alone, but by 1,000 years of agricultural engineering. Indonesian farmers needed a bird that could walk long distances to forage in rice paddies without waddling or tiring. They selected for an upright posture and high mobility. The result is a duck that doesn't fly and doesn't waddle, it runs. This history is tied to the Agomo method of rice farming, where ducks are released into flooded paddies. They eat the insect pests and weeds while their paddling oxygenates the water and their droppings fertilize the crop. On a dry 1 acre farm, this translates to the ultimate slug control. Unlike heavy meat ducks that trample delicate vegetables, the agile runner can navigate garden rows with the grace of a ballerina, picking off snails and slugs without crushing the kale. They are also phenomenal layers, often rivaling the best commercial chickens with yields of up to 300 eggs per year. They are a mobile pesticide unit that pays you in breakfast. But what about weed control? For that, we need a bird that was bred to replace the home. Before the chemical revolution of the 1950s introduced herbicides to American agriculture, the weeding of the South was done by the cotton patch goose. This landrace breed was developed specifically for the task of weeding row crops like cotton, corn, and tobacco. Geese are unique among poultry in that they are almost exclusively vegetarians with a preference for grasses over broadleaf plants. Farmers discovered that a flock of cotton patch geese would devour the crabgrass and Johnson grass, choking a cotton field while leaving the cotton plants completely untouched. Historical agriculture data suggests that 12 geese could perform the weeding labor equivalent to 1 human worker. They are lighter and more heat-tolerant than the heavy European breeds like the Toulouse, allowing them to work through the humid southern summers. On a 1 acre homestead today, they are the lawnmower that fertilizes as it cuts. They are also auto-sexing, meaning you can tell the white males from the gray females as soon as they hatch, simplifying your breeding program instantly. While the geese manage the ground, we need a sentry to watch the sky, and for that, we turn to a bird with the reputation for being louder than a car alarm. You will often hear that guinea fowl are the ultimate tick eradicators. While they do eat ticks, scientific studies suggest their tick vacuum reputation is slightly overstated compared to their role as hosts. However, their true value on 1 acre lies in their ancient role, the alarm system. The guinea fowl's behavior parallels the Roman legend of the sacred geese of Juno, which famously alerted the Romans to a stealthy invasion. Guineas are hypervigilant. They possess an incredibly harsh, piercing call and will scream at the presence of hawks, foxes, strangers, or even a snake in the grass. On a small farm where a single fox attack can wipe out your entire poultry flock, the guinea fowl is the first line of defense. They are the eyes of the farm, allowing your other animals to graze in peace. They are semi-wild, roosting high in trees at night, and require almost no feed if allowed to range, surviving entirely on insects and seeds. They are the low-maintenance security guards of the animal kingdom. We've filled the air and the garden, but to truly maximize caloric output, we need to look at a forgotten protein source. In the feudal systems of medieval Europe, the right to keep a columbier or dovecote was a privilege often reserved for the nobility. These massive stone towers housed thousands of pigeons, providing fresh meat in the winter when other livestock had been culled. The product was a squab, a young pigeon harvested at roughly 28 days old just before it fledges. The biological magic here is crop milk. Both the male and female pigeons produce a nutrient-rich secretion from the lining of their crops to feed their young. This substance allows squabs to grow at an explosive rate, going from a hatchling to a market-weight bird in under a month. This is a faster growth rate than even the most genetically modified broiler chickens. A pair of commercial utility pigeons like Kings or Karna can produce 12 to 16 squabs per year. They require very little space. Loft and the corner of a shed is sufficient. They can be allowed to free flight, harvesting nutrients from the surrounding landscape and bringing them back to your farm in the form of protein and high nitrogen fertilizer. It is the ultimate low-input, high-output system that we have largely forgotten. Now we move to the mammals. But on 1 acre, a cow is a mathematical impossibility. We need a ruminant designed for density. Forget the Holstein cow. On 1 acre, the metabolic tax of a 1,500 pounds animal is unsustainable. You would be importing feed every day. A's solution is the Nigerian dwarf goat, a biochemical powerhouse often mislabeled as just a petting zoo animal. While a Holstein cow's milk averages 3.7% butterfat, and a standard goat sits around 3 to 4%, the Nigerian dwarf consistently produces milk with 6 to 10% butterfat. This is the highest of all dairy goat breeds, rivaling the famous Jersey cow. Why does this matter? Because cheese yield is directly